of encouraging engagement is you have wonderful candidates who are willing to come, sit down, and blindly answer questions that come from people who are here. So I'm going to just encourage everybody to give yourselves a quick, while I'm finishing the introduction here, we'll let the candidates, of course, introduce themselves for a couple minutes each, and then we're going to move into some questions. So while they're introducing themselves, introducing their platforms, think of questions that you would like to ask. And we're just going to make it very simple. Direct your question to whichever candidate you'd like to direct it to. We're going to give all three of them a chance to answer it. I'm going to kind of, I'll Robert's rules it a little bit, just to make sure we stay on track and we don't lose track of time, so we can be as productive as possible. So, are you guys all ready?
Yes.
Yes. Are we recording now, Drew? No, all right. Okay. So then let's give a nice, really loud round of applause for our candidates for being here. Let's do that.
Hey. Yes. All right. Give it up.
All right. So we'll just start to my far right. So Sid,
would you want to go with Kenny since he's the one recording? Would you want to go with Kenny?
We'll do it this way right here.
We're good.
Yeah.
Follow
All right, cool.
Follow lead, we'll move faster. So to start with yourself, we'll just come right around, and then when we're done with introductions, just raise a hand, please, and I'll recognize you, and then we'll just get the questions going. Sound good?
Sound good.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, Sid, please introduce yourself.
All right, hi everybody. My name is Siddhanth Sharma. I am running for U.S. House of Representatives. I was born here in North Carolina, lived here my whole life. Major pieces of legislation I intend to file is lowering everyone's taxes, business taxes, lowering gases, ending homelessness for veterans, and pretty much just ending any school CRT programs. And I have a lot more issues. But I'm just gonna keep it short and simple, and I'll keep it at that.
Cool.
Hey, Hal.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh no, it's all good. You're just speaking. My name is Eric Stevenson. I'm born in North Carolina. Anybody familiar with Washington, North Carolina? We call it Little Washington, North Carolina, home of the best hot dogs. Okay. I was born there. I lived in Vanceboro, North Carolina, with my grandmother in a little small house with a tin roof, outhouse around back. We didn't even have a bathroom. My mother moved to Durham to go to school to better herself. She's a single parent with 3 kids. So in 4th grade, we got the opportunity to move to Durham, North Carolina with my mother. And very meager apartment in the projects in Durham, North Carolina. Anybody familiar with any of the areas in Durham, North Durham, Southern Durham? Okay, so we lived there, walked to public schools. I remember starting the school year with the same pair of shoes 2 years in a row with a hole in the bottom. But you know, I tell you what, to fast forward it, to end my introduction, I joined the Navy, 20 years in the Navy. I'm a veteran, disabled veteran, currently dealing with, different things that us veterans do, but we're tough and we persevere. I know how to climb out of poverty firsthand, and I've seen what damage the handout culture can do. So my mother educated herself, got better jobs, worked 2 jobs. I saw that. My grandmother worked 2 and 3 jobs, driving a school bus. It's in me. I know how to climb out without the handout. And I'm excited about going to DC to represent the will of the people. Yeah, I have a lot of ideas, but your ideas and the things that you're going through matter more than my own personal agenda. So I'm looking forward to hearing from everybody in District 13, fellow Republicans in other districts, to aggregate the things that you guys need the most. And those are the type of committees that I'm going to be a part of in DC to get problems solved. Not making a bunch of promises here, on the stump. I'm going to end this part of the government. No, as a freshman congressman, you're going to sit your butt down, get your ID card, go through orientation, hopefully meet the right people, and work with fellow Republicans to get the business of government done. So thank you for inviting me.
Great. Hi, guys. I'm Kenny Shue. I am running for Congress here in the 13th District as well, and thank you to Chad for inviting me. I was born in Rockville, Maryland, raised in Richmond, Virginia, and then I first became acquainted with North Carolina when I moved here for college. I went to Davidson College. I declared and I majored in math, and that is, I'll tell you why, politics wasn't the first thing that I thought I was going to do as a career, but a couple things triggered me to this point that I decided I was going to take action. One thing was the COVID policy and the Black Lives Matter movement. The mix of reactionaryism from the left wing during that time in 2020 and complete illogic, saying you have to stay home, but Black Lives Matter could protest. You know, you have to get the vaccine and you have to wear the mask, even though we don't have any studies that show that the mask is effective. At that point, the mask became a tool of social conformity, and that affected me, that affected my family. And my family was actually pro-mask for a little while, but after seeing the damage that it did upon our culture, we had to fight that, and we decided to get out of that. The second thing is education that really pivoted me towards running for U.S. Congress. And I'm here to answer all of your questions about everything. And I will say that one of my specialties is education, both K-12 and higher education. My family and many immigrant families, education is hard, but it's not difficult. In the sense is, we understand, and it's a tried and true science about how people get better at math. You do problems of increasing difficulty, and you work at it, and you get put in a room, and somebody teaches you and coaches you through that, but eventually you have to work your mind around to be able to solve those problems. And what the left wing is trying to do with their new agenda is that they're trying to say your hard work doesn't matter. They will lower standards to teach to the middle of the class or the lower middle of the class, and they will avoid teaching the gifted children. They will teach concepts in phonics based on things like whole word learning rather than phonetical distribution, which basically says, look at this picture, we're going to spell out the word for you. You look at the word, you look at the picture like a kite, and then you say the word kite. That is not the way that you learn phonics. And as a result, our math scores and our reading scores have been stagnant in this country for the past 50 years. And as an immigrant and a child of Asian immigrants, I do think I can bring something to offer on this educational front at the federal level. Because our Department of Education right now is incentivizing this outdated teaching in the name of quote-unquote DEI and equity. And I will say to the Department of Education, we're going to condition your federal funding only on improvement in student outcomes based on test scores in math and reading. That is one of the first things that I will do, and that I will push. As Eric was saying, I have to get to know people and understand, but I will push in my first term of Congress.
Here comes the engagement part. Here comes the engagement part. Someone has to have a question ready to go. Okay, Donna, is there anyone particular you want to ask, or do you want to just ask it, and we'll let them fight for the answer with?
So, you will be running the primary on your own merit. You'll be running the primary on your own merit. If you win the primaries in March, who would you like to see as the presidential candidate that you feel that not only will you run the general on your own merit, but the coattails of the top of the ticket, who would you like to see that person be?
The one and only Donald Trump.
And how come?
How come? He ushered in such a new wave of popularity and popular sovereignty. He was the one who really brought everything all together and did it in such a very charismatic function. He is the leader of the Republican Party. He's been there ever since 2015 when he came down that escalator. He has really brought people together, really energized people, and everything about him has just been top of the line. So absolutely, Donald Trump is the one. Absolutely.
I would say for me, obviously there's a Republican primary going on right now, right? You know, everyone has in this beautiful country we live in, everyone has a shot. You know, I love what President Trump did with the Supreme Court. I love what President Trump did with the Supreme Court. It can't be undone. We got some young ones in there that's going to be there for a long time. And as a born-again believer, that was near and dear to my heart to see a majority conservative Supreme Court. And if he's chosen, again, democracy, if he's chosen as a nominee, I'm 100% willing to support him. I voted for him. I mean, you can check the records. You can check the records. Well, I'm just saying, you know, I don't mind. I voted for him, you know. So, yeah, I would like to see him as president. But again, there is a primary, there is a process, you know. So I don't have a crystal ball that says he's going to be a nominee. But if he's not the nominee, I'm voting for the Republican. So I hope everybody is saying, well, if he's not the nominee, we're still voting Republican, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, just want to make sure we all on the same page. That's all. But you don't, we got to make sure we keep it Republican now. Just because your favorite person didn't win, don't sit out and don't vote for the Democrat, or we're gonna stay in the mess that we're in now. So we got our favorites, but let's make sure Republican is the favorite.
I'm undecided, and I'll give you look, I'm a math major. I'll give you the pros and cons of both. If Donald Trump is elected, he is a major fighter for our cause, and he is going to get his agenda, which includes immigration, which is part of my agenda, done. And I genuinely feel he's going to get immigration done. And he is going to, there will be fewer illegal border crossings under his watch, and I did respect the way he did the economy. He's going to be very divisive. He's going to be incredibly divisive. His negatives are extremely high, higher than Ron DeSantis, and he's going to have trouble uniting the country. Ron DeSantis is a very effective administrator. I've met Ron DeSantis. He is not a personally super charismatic person. He is a very effective administrator. That's why his state, Florida, was able to get a lot of things done on anti-wokeism and taking out CRT from the curricula. In my opinion, I would have revised his parents' rights bill slightly. I would have, because right now all it says right now is that, you know, a parent can have the right to request that this curricula doesn't get forced through, but if you're a school board, there are many ways that school boards right now continue to impede the progress of parents' ability to talk with teachers and principals. So there has to be some sort of punishment mechanism for school boards that don't comply with the law, and there wasn't an effective one, and that's why his law is not doing as well as I think it should be. So, but I think he's a very effective administrator, and I think there are pros and cons to both.
Okay, gentlemen here, hi.
I'm sorry I got here late. Went to the other place and had to Uber over here. The three of you are all three running. Well, you're going to be in the primary for District 13. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What I want to know is, it sounds like all three of you are very good candidates. What I want is whoever wins the primary, will you vocally throw your support behind the one who won? In other words, what I'm saying is, what I don't want is, a bunch of sour grapes, I lost, and so I'm just going to sit back and not do anything. I really want to see, whoever wins. If I don't win, I throw my support, and it's the same way I do to the presidential race. If Trump wins, I'm all in. If DeSantis wins, I'm all in. Anybody
Absolutely.
except Democrats. I just want to hear you.
Eric, go ahead.
And sir, if you heard my answer earlier about the previous question, that we have to vote Republican, I'm absolutely voting for whoever the nominee is in District 13, and I'm going to send them some financial support. You see that, camera, you hear me? You got me on record. I'm going to send my financial support as well as my vote. And my wife, I'm influential over my wife. She listens to her husband of 18 years, and our household will support the District 13 candidate, whoever that is, absolutely.
Yeah, I will. I will say I will never go against any candidate who wins the Republican primary. The level and vocality of my support to the eventual candidate depends on who the candidate actually is. I will have to say I'm not a big fan of candidates who run because their daddy tells them to. And that's what we had last time in 13. It's what daddy gave a whole bunch of money to a candidate. He came in with that money and he lost. And he was a bad candidate. So yeah, would I support that? I mean, vocally, would I lend my voice, my platform to that? Not sure. But somebody who's principled, who I respect, who I trust, and there are candidates in this race that I do, then yeah, I would. I would, for sure.
Yes, you must absolutely put party before anything else. The good of the party is absolutely whoever wins by the fair majority. And you must always put party before any belief that you have. Absolutely.
Yeah, without question. No caveats.
Yeah, no caveats.
I'm voting for District 13 candidate. No caveats.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. Okay. Yes.
About education. Education is usually done on the state level. You, as going to be a representative at the federal level, how do you see your input on the education? Because according to Constitution, federal should not be involved in education. How are you gonna manage this part?
Well, my quick answer is.
Oh, it's okay.
I didn't see. Oh, I thought it was panel. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go right
I
ahead.
mean, so we'll go with Kenny,
Yeah.
Sid, Eric, so you'll close this question out.
So the budget is heavily in favor of the state. As it stands, the federal department has a Department of Education, and the Constitution, it says in the 10th Amendment that the duties that are not explicitly laid out in the Bill of Rights are duties of the state. And I would support as much rollback of the federal government's power to influence states as possible, for sure. But as it stands right now, and the reality is the Department of Education contributes about 10% of the funding of schools. That means that even if North Carolina, a Republican state, increased their taxes by 10%, the federal government, by mandate of federal government, could out-leverage North Carolina's impact, just like that. So unfortunately, the federal government is still very important in education. And even if we lower taxes and improve our education system ourselves, we are still going to face the wrath of federalism, basically, which is the federal government's budgetary impact. The fact that they fund so much, and the fact that the Biden administration in 2021 added another $192 billion into the Department of Education to further leverage themselves over state governments, which they're using right now to enforce equity, DEI, which they're using right now to basically handcuff these local school boards into, well, we have all this money now, so let's give our administrators raises. These are raises that they will not be able to lower in the future, and so they're going to demand even more money from the federal government in 2025. So I have to be very clear, and you have to be very careful with the laws that you pass at the federal government level, and that's why I think the best solution is to say you can have this money only if you improve student outcomes that are easily measured, easily measurable via test scores.
Sid, if you'd like an opportunity to answer.
Yes. May I ask to answer your question? Were you referring it to like more specific, like as in like the federal government giving economics stuff to the state governments, or are you talking about CRT programs? Are you talking about DEI? I mean,
Pretty much everything, because the federal government should not be influencing states.
you're absolutely correct in that. And if you remember way back in the day, the person who created the Department of Education was Jimmy Carter, and that was under a Democratic administration. You're absolutely correct. The federal government should not be getting intertwined into state affairs. You're absolutely correct on that. Funding it, managing it, anything that relates to that, you're absolutely correct. And under my tax plan, which lowering taxes and stuff, and for funding for homelessness for veterans, I'm appropriating all those funds out of the Department of Education, the Environmental Protection Agency, the IRS, all things that are pretty much the federal government should have no business in, and take that out. The best way to stop that program is to give them the least amount of funds as possible. So no, yes, you're absolutely correct on that. Yes, ma'am.
I would say for me, outside of policy, is relationships. Now, me personally, going to school in North Carolina as a child, family that's rooted here in North Carolina because we're from North Carolina, and I have cousins, aunts, uncles that are administrators right now in schools, right now, teachers right now that I talk to, even inside our district. Having those relationships and knowing what's going on inside the schools personally, as a congressman, you have a lot of influence as a congressman. And having those relationships and knowing what's going on in schools in Wake County, Johnston, Person, and throughout the district, those relationships and hearing, getting those emails, taking those calls and visiting those schools and seeing the conditions, then you know how to take action from there. So my personal, just to wrap the answer up, is to know the schools, to know the counties, to know the needs of the schools, and to know the teachers, the cafeteria workers, the school bus drivers, the actual people. What do you guys need? And then we can shape policy from there. Not my own personal policy, but the will and the policy that the people actually need.
Well, lucky for you guys, I already did the 2 years of research into the public schools, going into the public schools, and
Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. Are we doing that?
Hold on.
Because I'm a rebut.
I'm sorry. I'm just making a naked advertisement for my book.
I thought we all answered the question, and then we kind of just finish it up, right?
That's right, yes.
Oh, okay. I know the rules. Okay.
We're gonna try to stay on track. We're trying to stay on track. Yes, Jessica, your hand was up first. Go ahead.
I just have a related question, since obviously CRT in schools is very controversial, but so has DEI in the military and in corporations. We know it's affecting military recruitment, military readiness, and I don't think it's been talked enough about the effect on morale in corporations as well. It's really affecting their efficiency, it's really affecting their ability to execute whatever you have people. It's one thing for you within an organization, and it's another to just sort of set them up for failure in positions they're not ready for, in positions they're not being trained in, et cetera. This was an issue even before DEI, but I think it's become a bigger issue, now that DEI has become so popular. Do you have any answers to that, or how we can, focus more back on there and affect shifting it? Yeah.
As you remember, the Students for Fair Admission versus Harvard and UNC, that was done in the courts. So, and it was a very long opinion. It was about 130 pages, 120 pages, something like that. You see every Supreme Court justice, they talk about the next step is exactly employment and everything like that. And that's under Title VII. Education done under Title VI. So the next battle is exactly that. That's going to have to be more than likely being fought out in the courts because, as we know, the Senate is right now split. So raising any bill like that, I'm going to keep it real with you guys. It's more likely not going to happen. You're going to see many stalls and many gridlocks. The best way to fight that is through the courts. Especially if it's government mandated programs, the best way to get that is filing a lawsuit through the courts. And that is actually something I intend to do when I come into Congress because when the government, as you said, the Army and everything, those are things done by the government. They should, and they receive federal funds. Just like how Harvard and everything, you can see they receive federal funds. They can't get that anymore now because of that ruling. Same thing should also apply to also hiring if federal funds are used. And since Army is a federal program, you're absolutely correct that it cannot continue. So that's going to be a battle absolutely more than likely in the courts then.
Could you repeat that portion of
Could you clarify what you mean by fighting out in the courts?
Yes, you're going to have to file a lawsuit because just like how Students for Fair Admission, they filed a lawsuit against Harvard and UNC saying that affirmative action, DEI policies, all that, they wanted to rule that unconstitutional because the fact of choosing someone's race, whether for benefit or for exclusion, is unconstitutional under the 14th Amendment. So, and they use federal funds for that. So now because they use federal funds, it becomes a federal question. So the same thing under here when it comes to the military or anything like that, any government funded programs that require federal dollars, and the military is obviously federal funds, then that is going to be a battle have to be fought out in the courts. And as a congressman, you can absolutely file a lawsuit, and that's something I intend to do on day one. Yes, sir.
Could you repeat that portion about the military portion you were saying?
I just think it's pretty clear at this point that it's affecting military recruitment as well as military readiness. The morale has been hurt. From what I've heard from a lot of people, it's always been an issue, but not the issue they've made it out to be, right? So they've been accusing plenty of people, or they've been spotting racism everywhere it's not, right? So, I mean, call out real racism, yes, but if you kind of cheapen it, it loses its meaning and it does more harm than good, right?
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to kind of harp on that part there. I've mentioned before I did 20 years in the Navy, and for about six and a half years, I was a Navy recruiter in Fayetteville, North Carolina, servicing Fort Bragg at the time. So having that intimate knowledge of recruiting, a lot of stuff that you said, I know the behind the scenes of the recruiting, and everything is race related. They would literally tell us, they call it a bum G. What is a BUMG? What is a bum G? Black upper mental group. They would say, you have to go out and get 4 black upper mental groups this month. Name your race. Name your race, upper mental group. And I'm like, wow, I love my country and I love the Navy, but man, I'm really at a loss for words. I was at a loss for words then. I'm like, we have to do this? And if I don't so what if I meet Native American whoever that passed the entry test? No, we don't want him. We're looking for 3 black upper mental groups this month. That was a battle that we had to fight. Again, I take orders. I was a great sailor. I did my job. I was the number 3 recruiter in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia for a period of time, because I knew how to go out and sell my country. That's what I sold more than anything, was my country. And my uniform was the flag. I felt like my uniform, I was draped in that flag. But I've seen those things firsthand inside the military, and we got to do something about that. What is the exact answer? We got to do something. It's just not right. Why are we looking for black upper middle groups? Why aren't we looking for my white friends down in the country that can pass the test just like I did? We all deserve the same chance to serve in the military. Why should they be excluded? I'm black, obviously, as you can see. I don't need any special favors. I passed the test just like everyone else did. I qualified for some of the highest programs in the Navy. That's how it's done. That's how it's done. So I'm sorry, I'm a little bit extra passionate about that because I've seen the ugly side of it, and we got to do something about that.
Here.
Sorry.
First of all, thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
Give
Appreciate
a round of
it.
applause
Thanks so
for
much.
service. 20 years in the Navy, that's incredible. So the Army, I studied the Army. I didn't study the Navy, I'm sorry, but the Army had an aptitude test that everybody had to pass. That was it was a mental and a physical aptitude test, and it didn't matter what race you were. You had to pass this battery of tests. You had to pass an IQ test. Controversial, but yep, you had to do it. You had to have a certain mental ability, because if you had lower than that mental ability, the Army determined that you were actually counterproductive to your forces. You weren't productive to your forces. I'm sorry, but it's true. So everybody would need to, under a Kenny Shue military regime, everybody would have to pass the same test, regardless of race, and I would also say, regardless of gender. I would say that. I'm not opposed to that, but I would say they have to pass the same test. You probably see a theme with my campaign. It's about standards. It's about setting objective, transparent standards. And you know what the best thing about objective, transparent standards are? If you don't like them, you can argue them, because you know what they are. And that was the whole problem with the whole Harvard admissions case, which I fought for 8 years, is that they never had an objective, transparent standard. They kept talking about holistic admissions, which we now know is a disguise for racial discrimination against whites and Asians. And the evidence and we had to extract the evidence from them like pulling wisdom teeth in order to get it, but we did, and that's how we were able to win. because we've shed the light on what really happened. And that's the first thing that I would do as a congressman for you. I will be your exposer in chief. I will shed the light. You know, I'm an excellent griller. I will grill these Pentagon chiefs in a way that you have never seen before.
All right.
I think Marlena's had her hand up right with Jessica. So go, Marlena, so come back to you.
Okay, hi, my name is Maria. This message is for all three of you. And separate, if I was the next lieutenant governor, what are all three of you going to do to help me be good at that position? Because I have duties. I need you guys to go up to Washington. What are you going to fight for me?
I'm going to fight.
Prayers back into schools. That is a critical thing. A very big campaign legacy of mine is to bring prayers back into schools. And the best way to do that is do it at the state level first before it even comes to the federal. You control, if you were to become lieutenant governor, you automatically control or rather have a large say in the North Carolina State Senate. Federal, prayers coming back into schools is a very, 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 very serious thing, and it brings a lot of morale into people. That is one critical thing, and also taxes. Everybody would love to have their taxes lowered right now in these times of inflation. Gas too, everything. Best way to do that is to deregulate all that stuff. The economy is arguably the #1 issue for almost every single American. Lower them taxes, lower them business taxes, deregulate, and lower gas, and bring prayers back into schools. Nobody can argue with that. It's one of the biggest things that matter to people. God plays a very important role in all of us. I've seen it happen. I've seen its wonders. The ability to have people do it for themselves in school, the morale you'll see, it is absolutely heartwarming. So many issues like that, absolutely.
Personally, I think the best way to support you is to know what you need, and to know that there's an open door policy, an actual open door policy. Not like, you know how you meet somebody and say, call me. They don't really mean call you. That's just something they say at a dinner, right? No, but actually call me. Let's have open lines of communication to understand what you need, what the governor needs, because we definitely need a governor and lieutenant governor that's on the same page. That's what North Carolina needs, and I would definitely support anything that you need that's in lockstep with the governor to make sure that we're all succinct.
I would authorize a second energy pipeline for North Carolina.
Here, here. There you go.
Because right now we only have one, and it's old and it needs repair. And right now North Carolina spends 3 times as much money on energy. Sorry, we consume 3 times as much energy as we produce. So I would like a world where North Carolina is more energy independent, and I would work to facilitate that for you. How's that?
I was going to say, may I say one more thing?
No?
Okay, that's fine.
Gentlemen, so, quick introduction. I've been in the Army for 19 years, going on my 20 next year.
Thank you for your
So I
service.
heard 3 things from all of you that I don't believe answer the lady's question. So, DEI in the military, who's the top ranking person in the military? Technically unranked. Who's the head of the military?
Secretary of Defense.
Correct. It is the commander-in-chief. All right,
Yeah,
so
I
who
mean,
sets policy for the Navy, the Army, the rest of the branches? It's the commander-in-chief. So, as soon as Biden got elected, I sat through tons and tons of lectures about how I can't call my soldiers this, I can't get in their face, I can't really, train them to be the most toughest legal people that I can be. Who sets that policy? That's the commander-in-chief. Okay. It is the congressman that sets the standard. Now, when you join the military, you know this, that you have to take an IQ test, an aptitude test, and it is a standard. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Asian, whatever else, it's the same exact standard. Everyone has to take the same exact 150 questions.
Yeah.
They determine your IQ, they determine what you know. And if you're too dumb, however, there's infantry that's always available for you. You only need to be able to breathe and
That's what they say.
pulse.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
I love them, but gentlemen, when you come up, someone asks you about DEI in the military, please know that it is, you can set the standard for our PT test, which is kind of a joke now, the Army. However, when it comes to DEI policy, that is the president's job. He sets policy for the entire military. Navy, Army, Air Force, he directs the Secretary of Defense, hey, you're going to tell every single branch they have to have this DEI policy. They have to take this class. You can try and go to court over it, but guess what? At the end of the day, it's still that man's prerogative. Whatever he wants, or she wants, whatever it'll be in the future, it's their prerogative. They set that standard, not Congress.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Were you with 20th engineering degree? 20th engineering?
No.
Okay.
The 346.
Okay. Are you with them now currently?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I used to be in charge of the Soldier for Life program, so I used to do all of the briefings for, the commanders program and everything. So I was just curious where you were stationed at.
I'm here now, yeah. But
Yeah.
more to the question, though. So, what will you do for stuff that you can control with the military? What standards will you set that you can actually impact? Not DEI, you have no control over that. What will you push forth through the military for standards?
Well, I would say,
Just quick. Go ahead, Kenny.
I would say the first thing, here's two things that Congress can do with regards to defense. One, we can declare war. I want to take back more of those powers for Congress. We had commander-in-chiefs that basically declared war themselves without congressional approval. And we've had that ever since World War II. The last time Congress declared war was World War II. Ever since then, it has been done by executive action.
So you plan to overthrow the presidential powers?
No, I plan to get our constitutional powers back. That's what I plan to do, which is inscribed in the Constitution. It's Congress's power to declare war, not the president's. Number two, the agency. We can control funding of executive agencies. Yes, the commander-in-chief is in power, but obviously the commander-in-chief does not make every military decision that we're making or budgetary decision for the Department of Defense. He has set up a Department of Defense, which is an executive-controlled agency. But the check that Congress can provide on an executive-controlled agency is we can choose how much to fund it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, check
So
them out.
I will conduct a $0 audit on the executive agency of the Department of Defense. You have to be financially transparent. Where is your money going? Start from $0. Let's go from there, because we are spending a lot of money on defense. It is 20% of their federal budget.
Yeah. For me, real quick, mine is gonna be real quick, just as a veteran, as a disabled veteran that went through the red tape, the pain, the anguish of filing for benefits that, not that I want, that my family needs. The red tape, the bureaucracy that's there is unacceptable. My dad's a Vietnam War veteran, which means that he was in the military before I was, correct? Why is he just getting his benefits about 2 years ago? And a lot of his friends have died because they didn't have the care and the finances that they needed to just make ends meet every month. You'll be a lot of veterans need help today. Mental health services that they're entitled to, but because of the bureaucracy that's there, they can't get it. I want to fight in Congress and be on committees, veteran committees, to be a part of that and to have the inside, I did that, my family did that, and we can speak to that and put that on the table and get things done to help these veterans. So that's something that I want to do on that level.
Upon entering day one, I will file a bill. Not one federal penny is going to go to DEI programs, anything like that. Congress funds the budget for every single thing. It starts in the House of Representatives. Article 1, Section 7 says it very clearly. Congress originates the budget. To deal here with the president, we will let the president know, whoever the president is, that not one single penny of federal money will go to the military if it involves any DEI programs. And like I was saying to one of the people right here, they also said a battle in the courts. DEI programs and stuff disincentivizes everything. That is a court battle also there, so there's dual action right there. And that's something I intend to do on day one upon entering Congress.
Okay. Questions?
We'll follow up.
Are you all satisfied, really?
Can I ask a question too?
Sure. you want to ask a question of the panel?
No.
I love it.
I mean,
Are you
yeah.
gonna
I mean,
ask a
no,
question?
we're all District 13. Well, not District 13. We're all Republicans, right? For the most part. Yeah, independent. Okay.
We're all here for the right reasons.
Yeah. So my question is like, what's your 1-2 that you need here in Wake County or wherever, I don't know where everybody lives. What's your 1-2? We need this and that. What's your 1-2?
If the panel is okay with it, I think we should give everybody the same opportunity to answer that exact question.
Yeah, what's your
Are you
1-2?
guys
Your
all
quick
okay with
1-2. What do you need? Like
We
you
can start right here.
You saw your congressman in the hallway. What's your
You wanna go
1-2?
last? Because it's coming to you. Okay, we'll start right here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll start here. Go ahead, take it away.
You know,
One,
what
two.
has happened in DC, I'm an Army veteran.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service, sir.
I'm older than most. My son is a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. He lives in DC right now. The lack of due process that the January 6th people have experienced is unconscionable.
It is.
We should be outraged, and we need to fight back against it. Because if that is the case, I lived for 2 years in China. I lived for 2 years in the Soviet Union. I know what it does to those people over there. And we're allowing it because nobody's standing up. We're allowing it to come here. I'm sorry. This is something that is unacceptable under the American Constitution. It is.
Sir, I'd like to say one thing. Upon entering Congress, I intend to serve in the Judiciary Committee, and what happened in January 6th was
Hang tight. I think we can all share some passion on that topic.
Yeah, oh
so
yeah,
we'll make it through the group, and then we'll have the panel respond to your top
Yeah.
things that
We
they
just want to
bring
kind of
up.
just hear
Okay,
what
yeah.
are those 1 or 2
Top.
things? Yeah, what's those
The
2
top
things?
2. Let's
Top
hear it,
2.
brother.
Yeah. Letterman.
It's all about you now.
I'm sorry, over you.
I don't think
All
so.
right. No contest.
No.
No contest. No contest.
Let's not compare
Yes,
that.
I am.
Oh, okay, he got him.
Where are you going?
I'm coming up
You're
here so
gonna be
that
on the TV?
microphone.
All right, okay, all right, go ahead.
Here's what I'm worried about, guys.
Yes, sir.
I'm 72 years old. Everything I've been reading says that the Social Security Trust Fund is going to be out of money in 8 years. Okay? In 8 years, I'll be 80 years old. When the trust fund runs out of money, 25% of the Social Security benefits will be cut. Okay? What can you guys do about that?
I'll tell you the first thing. I'm giving people in Congress, as soon as day one, I'm very well aware that Social Security will be depleted. It is essentially a dead function. By all means, we can keep the program, but on day one, I'm going to file a bill. Any person who wants to opt out of Social Security should be able to and get all the full benefits immediately. What I think about Social Security is that it is ridiculous how FDR, that's the person who created it, says that we get to take a portion out of your paycheck and give it to you at a certain time after life. That is your money. If you want it, you should be able to claim it. And upon entering Congress on day one, you should be able to get all that money back if you want to opt out of Social Security.
That'll
Because you're
break
right.
the system.
Absolutely.
It would work it.
It would
But
break the
let's-
system, but that's a
we-
good thing that needs to
we just
happen.
doing the
though.
1-2s, right?
And that's something we need to fund, though.
I think that since they've had an opportunity to respond, I think we should let each candidate respond.
Sure,
So
I mean, it's
Eric,
a
if
Social
you- we'll just
Security.
go in order. Oh, no, Eric's good.
No,
Okay,
no,
sure,
I'm
I'll go then. I'll go. So, I mean, me and my team, we've been thinking about this issue for a really long time. Many people have spilled ink on this issue. It's the way that and I looked it up. So the way that Social Security will run out, basically, is if our population continues to age and we get more beneficiaries and we don't have incoming taxpayers with tax potential to come in. That's the way Social Security runs out, right? So there are a couple things that you can do. You can raise the retirement age.
Oh, I know what the fixes are, Kenny.
No.
I mean, that's been well discussed.
Well, I'm here to
Why
discuss
hasn't
the
Congress done
fixes.
anything?
Because I'm not in it.
All right, hang tight, everybody. All right.
There's an answer to
Hey,
that.
Eric, would you like to?
Yeah.
You can also, another thing
yeah.
that people haven't discussed yet is they haven't discussed getting the people who should be paying taxes, all of the taxes here, to actually pay all of their taxes. So, thank you. Thank
It's an
you.
underground economy, right?
There's an underground economy spurred by illegal immigration where they do not pay all of the taxes they should be paying. They take advantage of our system, and they don't pay the taxes into the system. That is why on my website, my number, like, really it's like number one issue with education is immigration, because we need to set rule of law in our system again.
Okay.
People have worked like yourself, my dad, my mom, she's 71 years old. You're gonna get your money. We have money for wars. We have money. So wherever we need to reallocate those funds or get those funds from, they need to be given to those that work hard in America, like yourself and others, and you deserve your Social Security. Not raising the Social Security age, dangling the carrot out further and further. You deserve what you worked for. And it's plenty of money. The money's there.
Why do you think it hadn't been fixed?
I have that answer.
Oh,
Dark money.
I have to correct
Dark money.
you. The money is not there.
No, it's not.
I promise you, the money is not there. The so-called lockbox doesn't exist. What the Congress has done is they simply have spent that money. You know, the money comes in, and they just spend it on other things.
Exactly.
That's all.
Oh yeah, the money's
not
there.
All right. Okay.
And we keep spending money that's not there.
All
And
right.
then what is all that other money going to? We don't even know. The Pentagon just found, what was it, about $700, $800 billion that they couldn't account for? Where does all this money go to? You have to understand, trillions of dollars go for Social Security, but where does all that money end up going to? People end up don't seeing it. And I'm sorry, my time's up.
Okay,
But
we're going to get back to the 1-2. This is a good question.
You think so?
We'll come back to it.
I know
We'll do
so.
1-2s.
I
We'll
lay
do more
awake at
1-2s.
night worried about
We'll
that.
do more 1-2s.
Did you feel that your
Okay.
question was answered satisfactorily, or no?
We can come back to it. We can come back to it. We can come back to that. So I think it's a hot topic, and I think probably everybody in this room would have some concern or some thought to Social Security, Medicare, all of those programs. So I think we should come back to it. But since we decided to do the 1-2 thing, let's keep going.
Yeah,
Then
yes,
we'll
sir.
come
Yes,
back
sir.
to it.
Yes, sir.
So-
Absolutely.
Okay, how about back here? 1-2s, 1-2s, 1-2s? Oh, okay, Drew. You want to be on the TV? All right, okay. All right. Okay.
So for me, I mean, as the youngest person in the room, my 1-2 is really one. I'm concerned with the issue of patriotism in this country. Me and my dad took a drive around Wake Forest, Roseville on Veterans Day. We counted the American flags in front of people's houses. We must have counted 50, 100 houses. We only saw 5 to 10 flags in that many houses. That's not how it used to be. That's not how I remember my neighborhood. I remember growing up, going to July 4th parade, going to these things, and I'm proud of my country. Why isn't anyone else? That's my main issue. So.
Hey. That's good. That's good.
I am the.
1-2s?
That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll back it up with the 1-2, right? So, 2 things. One is the politicization of independent agencies, right? Where Congress has relegated their power to non-elected agencies.
Here, here.
It's creating a huge problem. All the things that we're talking about here today are reflective of the fact that these independent agencies are regulating and running many different things that Congress has thrown their hands in the air. That's number one. Number 2 is we need to get back to an originalist constitutional authority within our government, right? Kenny talked about how the Congress is the one that has the power and the authority to declare war, right? Yet that hasn't happened since World War II. We can go through the Constitution on many levels, right? The 10th Amendment, where there are many agencies that should be state regulated and not federally regulated. I'd like to see, these are big issues. I'm not expecting anybody to have a single answer, right? But those are things that we need to move back towards and figure out that address the very issue that the young people have, which is how do we have pride in our country? How do we become patriotic about being America first, right? Taking care of our own. Those are mine.
Jessica.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with law and order for starters. So border security, respecting our police, bringing back our FBI so that they can actually do their job and not, subscribe to whatever political whim is in vogue at the moment. Not being able to whistleblow, that's an issue in corporations, but especially in our law enforcement agencies, that's a huge problem if you can't, come forward as a whistleblower without being fired. And then I guess the second thing I think of is the pharmaceutical industrial complex. We all know that is just, a major disaster, and I don't even know what else to say. So,
High score 1-2s in the back.
Okay, so hi, my name is Focus. So right now, I am still serving the country. This month is 25 years for me. 4 kids, and I have 2 kids that said the same thing that you said. Where are the American flags? July 4th, we drove to South Carolina to get fireworks. You are our mother. You're still serving. And you go, whenever we go to the store, boom, accident, you stop it, we don't go to the store anymore. I said, that's my job, sorry. Dad, take them. I gotta stay here. That's my duty. I'm so happy that you're involved. That's why my son and my 2 older kids worked the Trump campaign for Susan B. Anthony and abortion rights. Then I did work for Trump in 2018 for Homeland Security with the children. So I want to know about the borders. I understand, but those children, girls and boys, before they crossed the border, they were already raped. They were already pregnant, and they came into the state already, and I was there firsthand, and I had it like this. But then I had to report it back. I don't bring that into my house. I hold that in here. And this state, I told everybody the truth. So I've been working here for free since 2017. Money is nothing. It's printed paper for me. I'd rather live outside, but I come from deep grassroots. And I want everybody, all 3 of you, that thank you, Jeff, but I'm very excited that different people that are not politicians, because I am not nowhere near a politician, but I know what it's like to hold up signs for free. I know what it's like to take orders. Chain of command is the first thing that I learned.
Oh, yeah.
Like this until I was, I got into med school. And my mother said, no, girls stay at home. You know how I felt? Bad. And look at my age now. And look at the country and my kids. Your son is here with us today. So, Dad, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Very much.
You're doing a good job. You're doing a good job.
And I'm proud of you, and I am proud of everybody in this room for coming here. Thank you so much. And, sorry.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you too,
good
man.
stuff.
Hey, we'll take all the inspiration we can get up
Yeah,
here.
thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, you can't. No,
I
you
need an
can't.
amendment.
Hang
It's
on.
an extension.
Hang on, wait. Let's make through. Let's make through. Your top 1 and 2. Your top 1 and 2.
Sure. Gentleman that bought my house 8 years ago in Southeast Raleigh. It was $140,000, 1,701 square feet. It was a damn good starter home.
Yeah.
Great price considering. Now it costs over $350,000. It's also, if I would have came to North Carolina now, there's no way I could possibly live.
Yeah.
It's impossible to get a starter home. I'm not a proponent of minimum wage. I believe, earning your way up the ladder, but even still, spending so out of control, and I can't afford. And if taxes go up any higher, I won't be able to afford my house. What are you guys gonna do? in Congress to help rectify that.
Day one, lower them taxes.
That's my 1 and 2. Too expensive in my house.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Hey, Paulina, would you like to give a 1 and 2?
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Okay. Donna?
Sure. So thank you for your service. Eric, thank you for your service.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, as we served in the Marine Corps, the fact that the VA hospital cannot help our veterans, but they are helping illegal immigrants go get their medical care.
It's ridiculous.
Oh,
Huge.
you talking?
It is an insult.
You're talking. Oh yeah, I would love. I would. Yes, ma'am.
But that is something
Oh, yeah.
that is hot.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your turn.
All right, my 1-2 is, let me just say, there are a lot of issues brought up and they're all valid. But my number 1 is, do you understand the Bill of Rights, which I love and respect, is not what the government will do for us. It ensconces our rights that we have as human beings made by our Creator. Will you defend that?
Absolutely.
One, will you understand that we are on a fiscal cliff? What we're talking about spending right now is not our money, not our children's money, not our grandchildren's money, not our great-grandchildren's money. It's generations from now. We will never, ever, ever, do the numbers, pay off this debt. Ever. Will you stand by? We don't have a debt ceiling. We don't have one. It doesn't exist. It's a laughable concept.
You're right.
So will you understand where we are? This cliff is coming closer. I don't know when we're going to go over it.
And it's coming to crash.
Every single day we're closer.
Yeah.
They may kick it down for another 100 years. I don't think so, but it could be tomorrow. So you need to stand up for our freedoms and our rights above all other things. Everything else is gravy.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
agree. I agree.
Taxes, regulation,
Okay,
absolutely.
1 and 2. Okay, I'll let him make his amendment, and then you got to go after he makes his amendment.
All right, so this plays right on exactly what you're saying.
I knew what I was doing the whole time.
Yeah. And it steals from what Drew asked some time ago, right? The question of civics in school, one of our biggest issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't understand as individuals what the Constitution is.
Yes.
What a republic is, right? We say we're a democracy.
We are not a democracy,
We're a republic.
a federal constitutional republic.
So teaching, what are we going to do to bring civics and the teaching of government back into the school system so we can be more active participants in the electoral process, right? That there are people that understand the true rights that we have in the 10 amendments, right? That we understand what each role of Congress, the judiciary, the executive is.
Yeah.
That until we solve that problem, we're going to be in this quagmire that we are today.
Okay.
Agreed.
My number 1 would be that America is funding other countries when they go to war. And
Yeah, Ukraine.
our whole money, even though we don't have money, is noted. We help other countries with something that we don't have either. So, and that money is being stolen, not used appropriately, sold on on the black market for the weapons. And I'll tell you a little bit of story. I came from USSR. Okay, I lived there for 19 years. Then I immigrated to Israel. I lived in Israel for 8 years. I've been here since 1999. When I immigrated to Israel, the war got through, and there was a war in 1990. And then, not long after that, of course, the information that got to us is that Iraq is about to invade, or you remember
Yeah.
that? I'm not saying, I'm just against the United States. It's a big melting pot, but at the same time, we should be worried about not interfering with other countries' politics, staying within our border,
Absolutely. America
and not
first.
to fund other countries, because they have the mind of their own. They have a way of controlling their own people, and we should not influence that.
Yeah.
Well done.
I mean, I think you just said what we all kind of said.
That is my-
America first, conservative principles. If everything you do, if America first and conservatism applies, if you use those rules, if those are your rulers that you're measuring everything that you do, and that's how I feel, that everything has to be conservative. Everything has to be America first.
America first, but not to invade other countries.
Yeah,
That is-
exactly. We got to take care of home
You know,
first. That's what.
I spoke with several Army veterans, and they say they are so sorry that they went to Iraq and
Absolutely, it was a
Afghanistan.
disaster.
You know, and on one hand, we are saying thank you for serving the country, but on the other hand, they fight the wars that we do not want to fight. I mean, those are not the righteous wars. We should not be part of it. That is my view.
I've got to speak to that.
Please do.
Had we not attacked Iraq after they took over Kuwait, and believe me, I've lived all over the Middle East, then Iraq would have taken over Saudi Arabia, and they would have controlled so much oil that they could have controlled the price of oil for us and held us hostage
That is a problem.
to that.
We all-
That is a problem. Yes, it is a problem.
The oil and the price of oil.
Well, because oil is good. I'm sorry, it is
It's
good.
It's good.
There is
necessary.
nothing produced by wind and solar that is produced by oil.
But
Oil
it's coming
and
from
gas,
within our country. We have
and-
oil.
and we have oil and gas in our country. It's only the Biden administration that has shut that down.
Right.
We need to oppose it tooth and nail because it's evil. We need to be energy independent, and we can be, except for the bureaucracy.
Here, here. All right. Any more 1-2s? Robert, you want to add a 1-2? Same time. Dave, you want to add a 1-2?
You?
I do. I do want to add a 1-2. Are you guys okay if I add my
Absolutely,
1-2?
yes.
Yes,
You
sir.
hosted this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
My number one would be
Yeah.
the concept of identity. I think you look at CRT, DEI, if you look at the track, even in Wake County's public school system, the fact that we all must be godless, faceless, raceless, familyless, homeless, it is an erasure of identity. So for me, that is number one. From that seed, you grow into the identity of your community, your neighborhood, your country, your state, all of those things. But if we continue to erase that concept, then we're going to have a standardized society, which is going to create so much angst, so much. I mean, you see it. You see suicide rates going up. You see all these mental breaks taking place. You see kids, NC State. You see deaths now every year. That's not something we're accustomed to having, and it is because we are not built to not have an identity. We're born into this world to be who we're supposed to be. So identity would be number one, and then autonomy would be number two. I want the government out of my living room. I want them out of my wallet. I want them out of my marriage. I want them out of my life.
Absolutely.
So those are my 1 and 2, identity and autonomy. So there you go. Those are my 2, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
All right, any other 1-2s? Okay, it is 8 o'clock. So I'm just gonna check to see how everybody's feeling, because I let me just say, if you are absolutely enjoying this concept, it's like just show like a raise a hand.
Can
or
I
make
raise
some
my
noise or
hand?
something. I mean,
I like this.
because
Yeah.
this is something that you will not get if you go to a partisan event. You go to a GOP event, you go to a Democrat event, you go to this event. You don't get this.
Well,
Exactly. You're
Well,
absolutely
don't
correct.
get
the people matter. Again,
And I'm
just some
trying to
popular
work,
sovereignty.
and
Yeah,
I
go ahead,
hope
go ahead.
you guys would agree to this, but I am trying to work with the NC GOP 13th District Chair Roger Farina to get an actual congressional debate.
Yes, I even told them that too. I sent them all emails and everything.
And can we
posted
please,
on Twitter.
for the love of God, just have debates again?
I actually spoke with the person county. They're trying to have at least get 2 of them because
Well,
there's so
there
many
are only like
candidates.
30 of you now, so.
Yeah, I know.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
You only
Okay,
need
well,
one.
listen, if,
I hate to make an announcement. We're having an Honor Israel Gala
would like to
January.
introduce yourself first?
I'm Hal Bettis. I'm
Okay,
in
wonderful.
Durham County
Durham.
GOP. Anyway,
Oh,
Hey, Durham.
we moved here from Texas only a year ago,
And
but
you
I've
moved
been
to Durham?
involved. I put out 75 signs for $10. 75, and I only got here in August. So that's what I do because we have to be involved. If we're not involved, we just hand it over to the Democrats. Anyway, January 21st, we're having an Honor Israel Gala. We have to stand up against the Palestinian evil that they did. Beheading people, doing unmentionable evil things.
Yeah.
We have to stand against them.
Stand
and
up.
that's not because Israel is perfect in every way. They're not. But we have to stand against that evil. Anyway, North Durham, Hilton Hotel, there's going to be a lot of people. There are going to be 2 people flying in from Israel for it. And the Winan family, who are famous black singers, are going to sing there.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, it is
That's big.
a big thing, January 21st, and this is a secret, but I'll tell you the secret. The secret is all the speakers are Jewish because we want to bring Jewish into the GOP.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Oh, man.
5 to 9, January 21st. And yes, it costs $100, but you get prime rib unless you ask for kosher.
Hello.
well, thanks for coming out. That's really exciting.
I'm out here to support. I'm actually in Durham County, District 4. I'm on the executive committee, but I want to help District 13 because District 13 needs help. And I live way north in Durham, and a lot of District 13 is way north.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, well, thank you. Well, I tell you, if you don't get a response on a full-out debate, because this event has some hiccups, and it was a little forced thing, it was a request, someone asked me to do it, and I said, this isn't really what I do, but if you want me to, okay, I will, and then it got shifted, blah, 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 blah. If you don't get a response and you trust me, I will do my best to actually pull together a debate in like late January, early February-ish, so you can actually have like a real thing, really push it, really promote it, and do it the right way. So, would you guys like to do that?
Sure.
Okay. So just keep me posted, and then we'll start working on it.
Obviously.
I'll start working on it next week. So
I'd
that's which is how it should be done, and I'm very gracious and grateful for everyone's participation tonight. And really, I'm a nobody, so I'm
No.
No, you brought this all together. No, sir, absolutely not. Without you, there wouldn't be this event.
I'm just gonna say
I'm a rookie.
No.
You did very good. You did very good for a rookie. Absolutely.
He's a dad,
Okay.
and he's a person, and he's a good man.
Okay.
Without Mr. Chessel, this wouldn't have happened.
So I'm very grateful. It's 8 o'clock. I'm going to leave it up to you guys. If you would like a little intermission, Robert is here, Marlenis is here, James is here, so they can kind of practice their platform and stumps for a minute, give you a little break. And if you want to engage more, I love these kinds of things.
I love them too.
I feel like I've learned so much tonight about what your role is in Congress than I have ever known. And without this event, I don't think I would have had the chance to learn it. So I am extremely grateful, and all 3 of you are well educated on what your role is.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much. You're too kind. You're too kind.
Are they just making this up, or are they pretty spot on? Pretty spot on.
Can I just say something?
Yes.
My team will discuss how long we want to stay after, because we may need to get to somewhere.
Yeah.
But I will say this: all of you guys are very smart. I'm smart, and Eric and Sid are also smart. We're all smart people. We all think of ourselves as intellectually minded. And I'll just say this to challenge you a little bit. It's one thing to be smart, but it's another thing to actually turn that intellect into hands work, into action. And we do need help at the hands level, at the action level. And I'll just tell you, I was smart, but I dug in and I helped Mark Harris with his 2018 campaign, fundraise for Mark Harris. I went on the phone. I went to the Georgia Senate runoffs in 2020, and I campaigned for Kelly Loeffler, even though she lost. I donated to Mark Robinson. I have gotten my hands dirty, and we are smart, we are heady, but we do need to get our hands dirty, and that's how I plan on doing that for you.
Vote Republican, no matter who the person is. District 13, with no caveats.
Yeah.
Party over
Vote.
politics.
Party. I don't have any caveats. Whoever is chosen, that's who I'm voting for. Republican.
Closing statements? Are we doing closing statements, gentlemen? Sid, closing
I already did
statement?
mine. I just did
Yeah,
mine.
Kay did his.
I like to say thank you, everybody, for coming out. It's people like you who truly make a difference. And I'd like to thank each and every one of you for affording us the time at this event. And thank you, Mr. Chad, for even hosting this event. Without you, this couldn't have happened. I think you deserve a round of applause, sir.
Just a question out of like the air here. There's 8 or 9 running for 13, correct?
I think so. Hey, let me
Eight.
just- Eric, did
Yeah.
you have a closing statement
Just,
you'd like to
yeah,
say? Like,
yeah.
Sorry, Eric.
Oh, no, it's okay. Just,
That's why they pay me the big bucks.
I know everybody's heard of the term rhino, and we're trying to weed out the rhinos. I think we need to weed out the C-nodes. What's a C-note? Conservative in name only. And there's another C-note we need to get rid of. Christian in name only. Campaign Christian conservative in name only. I'm getting tired of seeing people on the stump come to meetings like this and say words like faith and belief and get in office, and they're totally agnostic. Totally agnostic. I'm tired of that. I live what I say. I'm a born-again believer. I gave my life to Jesus Christ. I'm a born-again believer, and I live it every day with no cameras rolling. With my 9-year-old daughter, my 4-year-old daughter, my wife of 18 years who I'm loyal to. God, family, country, conservative, Christian. Eric Stevenson for Congress.
Well, you guys okay? You want to hear some practice platforms and stuff? You can
Thanks,
stand here or
guys.
join the crowd.